C99 Tutorial Part 1. In this set of tutorials, I'll be introducing the C programming language. We're going to be using the MinGW compiler on a Windows operating system. So let's get started with Part 1. In Part 1, we'll install the compiler, we'll configure the environment, and we'll compile a short program. Step 1, go to the MinGW website. That's at www.mingw.org. And here you can find all of the details about MinGW. Scroll down a bit and you'll see the Downloads menu. Click on Downloads. And we want to use the latest installer. That's called MinGW Git Inst. And now it'll download. You may notice that the installer is quite small. It's about 600 or so kilobytes. This is actually a program which will then download all of the other programs which make up the MinGW distribution. Now we see the installer screen for MinGW Get. As I mentioned, this will download all of the other packages. And when it asks you, use the first option, prepackaged repository, and then you have to accept the agreement. Use the default destination C:\MinGW. Okay, now the components, let's select all of the components and make sure to scroll down and you'll notice two other components here, msys and MGW Developer Toolkit. Next, install. So the next part will open a command window, and this part will now download all of the different packages needed for MinGW. This part may take a long time, so I'll probably pause the video and then skip past this to the next part. Alright, MinGW Get setup has finished, so now let's go to the next step. Finish. And let's close this. And now in this step we need to configure the path environment variable of the computer. You'll see why we need this in a moment. Find the My Computer icon, right click and choose Properties. And at this point, if you're running a later version like Windows Vista or Windows 7, it may ask you for administrator privileges. So in this menu, you'll see one of the tabs you'll see is Advanced. So go to the Advanced tab, and then click Environment Variables. Now in this screen, the top section is the environment variables for the currently logged in user, and the bottom is the section which affects all users. So let's change the system variables on the bottom. Scroll down a little, and we see Path. Double click or choose Edit and we can edit the path. Now the path, so now to edit the path, let's type at the end semicolon and then the path to our MinGW binaries. And that's as follows, C:\MinGW\bin semicolon C:\MinGW /msys/1.0/bin. Okay, so that's what it should look like. We've just added two paths to the path environment variable. Click OK. Click OK. And now we can close this or click OK at the bottom. Okay, now we're done. Now we can use the compiler and all of the tools that come with it. Yeah, to use the compiler, we're going to be using the command prompt. So if it's your first time using it, let's find the command prompt. Go to All Programs. And here locate the Accessories menu. So here is Accessories, and here is the command prompt. And now click on command prompt. And here it is. Right. So now if you're new to the command prompt, just a few commands that you need to know. First is the command dir, or it stands for directory. So type this command and press enter, and you'll see all of the files and folders that are located in this directory. One of them is desktop, so if we want to see our desktop, let's use the cd command, cd desktop, and press enter. And once again, dir, and we can see the directory. So we see in the desktop there's one file called C99 tutorial part 1. And notice it has the extension txt for text file. By the way, if you haven't done so already, I recommend you turn on the file extensions in Windows so that you can see the file extensions. The standard is to hide the file extensions, but if you want to turn them on, the way to do that as follows: simply open a folder. It can be any folder, and then press Alt on your keyboard to activate the menu. The menu you need is Tools, Folder Options. And then from here go to View and scroll down to find this setting. Hide extensions for known file types. It should be, and the setting should be unchecked, so turn it off if it's already turned on. Oops. Okay, going back to the command prompt. So now how can we write a program? So the command for running the compiler is gcc, and notice it gives us an error because we haven't told it what to compile yet. So let's first make a program that we will compile. So the way to make a program is simple. We just make a text file. It can be called anything, but let's call this hello. And for the extension, use the letter C. This tells the compiler it's a C source code. And now open the file with your favorite text editor. I recommend you use some sort of programmer's text editor. The one I'm using is called Notepad 2, but there are many text editors to choose from. Okay, now on to the actual program. First I'm just going to type it, and then I'll explain what we're doing. Okay, this is the classic Hello World program. Okay, so if I haven't made any mistake, then we should be able to compile and run this program. So let's try it. Go back to your command prompt. Now if we type the command dir again, we'll see a new file here. By the way, when you're typing commands on the command prompt, one trick that saves a lot of time, I'm going to type gcc, and now I don't need to type the entire file name, I just need to type part of it, for example H, and then press the tab key, and the command window will fill in the rest for you. So press enter, and now wait for it to compile. So at this point, GCC would normally tell you if there is an error or if there's a warning. If you see no output, that means no problems happened. If you don't give a name, GCC names your program a.exe. So let's run the program. You can simply type A, and we see the result, hello world. So great, we have a program. So now let's look at the program in a little more detail. So this program prints the message hello world, and you can see right here I have typed hello world, and at the end I wrote something peculiar, \n. So \n means a new line. It's like you press enter on your keyboard. So as an example to see how this works, we can change the program as follows, and the output should be the same, because in the first command we're printing hello, comma, space, and in the second command we print world followed by a new line. One more thing to notice is line 3. Line 3 defines our main function. In a C program, you must have one function called main, and this function will be started when the program runs. So let's look at it. First we have int. This tells us what is the return value of this function. This means an integer, and at the end of the function I'm returning an integer 0. Next is the name of the function, and what follows in parentheses are the arguments to the function. I think we'll look next time at how these arguments work, but for now just know that the standard arguments for main are as follows. And the naming of these is really just a convention. It's int argc, and next we have char star argv followed by brackets. The brackets mean that this is an array, so it's an array of char star. And we'll take a look at char star in more detail later. But for now, this program is just a basic one to show you the basic features of the language. And let's also take a look at the first line. The first line is called a preprocessor directive, and these directives always begin with the pound sign or hash sign on your keyboard. And in this case, it includes the standard input-output, stdio.h, which includes things like printf and other standard functions. Okay, one more thing, which is nice style to do in a program, is to begin, or somewhere at the top of the program, to write a comment which shows, or which explains what the program should do. So here I'll write a comment, hello.c, print the message, hello world. Now in C there are two ways to make a comment. First one is to start with this sequence, /star. /star will start a comment, and anything that you type afterwards will be considered a comment. And the way to end the comment is to type the reverse, //. So it means everything we type here will be ignored by the compiler. Comments are generally a good way to document details about the program. To recompile the program, press the up arrow on your keyboard. This will recall a previous command that you've already typed. And that concludes this tutorial. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part 2.